First at 5:30, a live look at the Broward County Jail. A rapper who's been behind bars in that jail for years is fighting for freedom. Good evening, everyone. Ynw Melly is accused of killing two fellow rappers.
It's been years since his mother last saw him, and she is on a mission now to change that. 7's Brandon Byers live in Fort Lauderdale with our top story this half hour. Brandon?
His mother and his attorney, Craig Melly, has been in the Broward County Jail since that crime occurred all the way back in 2019. His mom says he's being mistreated and should be released.
Jamil, if you watch this today, I just want you to know I love you. I'm going to continue fighting from you. And I just want to know that you're okay.
Jamie King says she hasn't talked to her son, rapper Ynw Melly, since 2022. 25-year-old Melly, whose real name is Jamel Demones, is charged with murdering his childhood friends back in 2019. He's already gone to trial once, though it ended in a mistrial last year. As he waits for a new trial, his attorney says he's been unable to call family members, and meeting with lawyers has been difficult.
I went to visit him and spoke with him myself on several occasions, and on no occasion was I permitted to be in a room where I could show him documents.
And now he's filing a federal motion saying his client's being held in a form of solitary confinement and should be released from jail.
It is the mechanism where state inmates can go in front of a federal judge to enforce their constitutional rights.
The Broward Sheriff's Office says they don't normally comment on pending litigation, but they did tell us the jail does not utilize solitary confinements, stating Mr. Demones has been placed on administrative segregation, which is a classification resulting in an alternate living assignment for an inmate whose placement in the general population poses a serious threat to the safety of staff or inmates. The rapper's mother says she can write her son letters, but the communication is delayed.
Sometimes when he responds, it's something I wrote him weeks and weeks ago.
Hey, I'm in the studio, bro.
Demones has millions of subscribers on YouTube. His biggest hit called Murder on My Mind, which is what he'll be tried for again next year. His mother says she'll keep fighting for him.
And I just want to know that you're okay. I just want to hear your voice and see your face. And I'm going to get you home.
Okay, his second trial scheduled for September of next year. If he's found guilty, he does face the death penalty. We're live downtown Fort Lauderdale. Brandon Byers.
What up, y'all? It's Coffee back at it. Man, ain't this about a bitch, man? Ynw Melly been locked down for a grip, for a hot minute, man. You heard him since 2019, and what a crazy story that was. It was like as soon as I just first started really hearing of Ynw Melly, I know he had been on the scene a little bit, but I just started even becoming aware of who he was, and then bam, he gets hit with this gruesome case, just savage, grisly allegations, bodying two of his longtime friends, like sandbox homies, from my understanding. I don't know if that's exactly what it is, but he definitely went way back with him. But, you know, as far as the legal system goes, right, those are just allegations. And you heard what they said. Hung jury. He was not found guilty. Now, totally different story, totally different situation. Another crime case that's in the news headlines like a motherfucker right now. The Menendez brothers with the Netflix series and all the different documentaries coming out, and just it's heavy in the news. Like, tap in and comment if you're following that case at all. They're two individuals who they had a hung jury in their first trial, but same situation, like as what's going on with Melly right at this moment. Not all this stuff about their civil rights being violated in solitary confinement, although they did break them apart and not let them really communicate with each other, because they were alleging that they were trying to plan a Michael Schofield prison break type move. But they weren't let out, and they remained in custody, and they were convicted the second time around. We don't know what's going to happen with Melly. Yes, you heard him, that case, that trial isn't set until next year, but he's just been down forever, and it feels like, in a sense, I know he's got core fan base and all that, but as far as the news cycle goes and everything, man, I haven't heard Melly spoke about in a very long time. And then you hear this, like, oh damn, I forgot a bit about him, man. And you hear what Melly and his lawyers are alleging that he's just being held illegally. No phone calls put in solitary confinement. They won't even let the attorneys speak to him. And Ma Dukes is sending these love messages out like, yo, I even think they're fucking with his mail because I'll get something and he's responding from a while back. Like, it just sounds like some very horrible treatment. And, you know, just covering it from a news standpoint, like trying to sit back, be neutral, and watch it all play out. Those are also just allegations and claims too. But the statement that the Broward County Sheriff's Office puts out says it all to me, right? They say, hey, it's not our policy to comment on ongoing situations like this. I'm not quoting, I'm paraphrasing, right? But we don't do solitary confinement. He's placed in ADSAG, administrative segregation. And listen, I've never been to prison, right? But I've been to the county jail and put in what was called at that county jail, double lock, ADSAG, whatever you want to call it. It's you're in a room by yourself. You know what I mean? Like, the whole solitary confinement, double lock, the box, whatever it may be, whatever the exact cell or particular facility is looking like, or the cell or the way it's housed, if it's on a block of a bunch of people all locked up or whatever the case may be, it's still locking an individual down in a room for 23 hours a day or whatever the case may be, if they're even letting them see the rec yard, you know? And that statement to me says it all, because it's basically the same thing. Like, hey, we're just not calling it like that. Say it's not solitary confinement. We don't use that policy. We just call it something else. And that statement just to me is like some semantics BS response that really lets me know this is what it is. Also, ain't no way in hell I think a member of the bar, like his attorney, is going to go and put his rep on the line, making it ish up like they're doing Melly super foul, you know? And this is just twisted to the point he can't even get in a room with his own client so he can go over legal documents and help aid in his own defense by, you know, having to peep the paperwork and speak with his attorney and strategize and all that. But he has to be in contact with his attorney so his attorney can do the best job aiding in his own client's legal defense. And this is just something else, man. Like, I'm remembering when the hung jury verdict came in, a lot of people were like, oh, Melly's coming home. And, you know, it was a rude awakening for probably Melly himself, or his lawyer, I'm sure, schooled him up. But a lot of people following the case like, no, they can still hold you, which is what they've been doing. And I don't know, they holding him, seems they're violating his rights like a motherfucker, man. I feel bad for Ma Dukes as she's heartbroken, wants her son to know she loves him. She wants him to come home, but you hear it. They have to go to the feds because the state is violating. You heard what he said. It's a mechanism where state inmates can go in front of a federal judge to enforce their constitutional rights. You know, they're violating a bunch of those rights, man. As you see, officially, it's reported that in this new lawsuit filed by Ynw Melly, and we just got to say, too, whose real name is Jamal. All this time, I was thinking his name was Demons. I can remember, man, when I first saw the allegations in the case hit the news, I said, damn, man, murder on my mind, killing 2 sandbox homies, and your name is Demons? Jeez, like, talk about a lot of things going against you before you even get in front of a jury who, you know, is already probably looking to convict you with the lyrics and just everything else on top of it all, right? Demons, but you heard him, Demones. He claims that he is being illegally detained under conditions that violate the 1st, 5th, 6th, 8th, and 14th Amendments to the U.S. Constitution. And you see that, you know, they're suing, but also, you know, asking for immediate release from prison after claiming cruel treatment as he awaits his second trial. And listen to this too, the date of the second trial, I said next year. That's next September 10th, 2025, man. You talk about a year. It's just hit November. That hung jury felt like that was forever ago. I mean, he still got a ways to go, and it says to me that they're playing mental warfare with Ynw Melly. Like, they are trying the best that they can to break him down, break his mind, break his spirit, and maybe hope that he'll just cop out and take some kind of plea just to get it all over with or something like that. I don't know. They are trying to break this man. Now, I know at one point in time, let me know if you believe that to be true as well. I remember I had a friend who, you know, has been to prison a bunch of times. I think he might be locked up right again now, man. You know, he never makes it home for more than a calendar year. I think maybe once, as he's in his mid-40s, probably pushing 50 by now. But from the time he was like 16 all the way on up, the most he ever made it out was like 18 months consecutive. He's just institutionalized. He's one of them dudes that just loves to get out, rip and run in the street, get high, fight, try and bag some chicks. And then by, you know, next thing you know, he's going back to prison. He likes to get high a little too much, you know. That's the dude I'm talking about's downfall. But what I wanted to get at is in the county jail around our way, he got into so many fights, got caught with so much contraband, you know, was charged with allegedly assaulting some COs, and really they assaulted the fuck out of him and just threw a fake case on him to, you know, justify their actions, cracking his head open. Like, the list goes on, and it's so much to get into. But the point that I'm trying to get at is he has some kind of security classification where whenever he goes back to prison, he gets placed in a max off jump. And I think over time he can bid down into minimums or mediums or whatever the case may be. But when he's in that county jail, they got him on lockdown at all times. And when they take him places, this is just in the county, they have to have 2 or 3 COs, one with the camera, another one to come put that elastic band thing around you that's like a weightlifter's belt that has your arms all hemmed up in it as well, and then escort him to where he's going to go and put him into like a pod gym all by himself, where then he walks backwards and they undo all that ish so he can get his hour of rec in the pod gym. Like, they treat the man like Hannibal Lecter. Now, he's did a lot of wild ish, and this is stuff we're talking about over decades of him going to this county jail. And you know, it is what it is. You can comment with your thoughts about it. But nonetheless, even with all that, he's still able to make phone calls. He's still able to meet with his attorney. He's still able to get visits and stuff like that. They might be non-contact visits where he's got glass in between them, but he's still able to do those types of things that he needs to do. And what they're saying here with Ynw Melly, like, clearly you heard the attorney go on the record and say, I can't even show my client legal documents. Like, this is just twisted, man. Like, I can't see it any other way other than that they are just trying to break this man's spirit. And he's got a long ways to go until this second trial rolls around. You know what I mean? So for Melly's sake, I know some people might say, oh, he's a murderer. He did this, that, and the third. Oh, he's this, that, and third. He's a murderer, whatever. These are all allegations at this point, and we're just talking about human rights, civil rights, basic rights that, like I said, we're just going off this report here, but the way that they responded to it, to me, just says a lot. They're talking some semantics BS. ADSEG, solitary confinement, double lock, call it what you will. The box, once again, to me, it's all one and the same. I mean, they're all dungeon-like places meant to just drive you crazy. And break your mind, break your spirit. I remember when I was in a detention center once, I was in a room for basically 3 months. No cap. It was terrible, you know. The human mind is just human beings, everything about us. Some people are more social than others, but at the end of the day, as much as someone is standoffish, no one wants to be locked down in a room like that. You know, like that is some harsh ish. So hopefully, for Melly's sake, they can get in front of the federal government with this lawsuit sooner rather than later. And I don't know, like it says, there's suing. There's no money I see, an amount he's asking for. It just seems it's more that he's asking for immediate release because this is cruel and unusual punishment, aka like torture, like we said, mental torture, mental warfare, as he's awaiting this second trial. Like, this is just crazy, man. I swear I ain't seen nothing about Melly's case forever, and now we see this. This is just, man. So hit the comments, let me know your thoughts. Stay tuned for updates. We'll have to see how it plays out. But man, yeah, some shocking reports there. I mean, it's Florida. There's a lot out there if you tap into prison content and certain sectors of the blogosphere, about Florida being like a pretty racist state as far as the prison system goes, and obviously America is built on racism. That's just a fact. You know what I mean? But you just hear the stories of these correctional facilities having jars of gold teeth that have been, knocked out of inmates' mouths and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. It's just a lot going on, man. It's pretty crazy, man. So subscribe, hit the comments. Let's talk about it all. Your thoughts about the case, these reports, what Melly's going through, his family, anyone, if you've been locked up in that particular facility or just the Florida prison system, period. Let's talk about it all in the comments below. I thank y'all for tuning in. Subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace and God bless.